Halo, the franchise that just keeps on trying to try. A franchise that keeps pretending to be a mainstream AAA franchise. Meanwhile, its current game just ended support without a successor even being announced. And no, the reanimated corpse of Halo 1 for the third time doesn't count. And due to the Venn diagram of Halo fans and autism looking like this, every single part of these games have been critiqued through the rise, decline, and misfired comeback. You can find videos exploring the story, mechanics, art design, music, and we're so desperate we've just started remaking betas of the OG games and releasing it so we have something to do. But through the slow rot of the franchise, something I've never seen talked about is the logo and branding, as trust me, making that better is probably the last issue on Microsoft's mind right now. But for something to noticeably decline, it has to have been pretty good to begin with. And just like everything else about the original Bungie games, its logo is... Halo 1 is all about exploring this alien world, and unlike most sci-fi depictions, it shows the world as ancient, kind of forgotten and dirty. You get the feeling from its environments that the most exciting thing to have ever happened there happened long before you were ever there to see it. The Forerunner metals are all weathered and half reclaimed by artificial nature, and the logo reflects these design elements. Halo 1's logo in all its variations is the word Halo in this rigid industrial-looking font that shares a lot of its motifs with the Forerunner constructs in the game. And when it just needs an icon, just the O in the Halo typeface is used. Again, the metals are definitely futuristic, but somehow feel ancient and old at the same time. And this logo does something really cool, where it's both extremely complicated with angles and depth, but is still very readable at small sizes. Usually the more complex a design, the less legible it gets when shrunk down. But if you look at a bunch of Xbox game cases, Halo always manages to stick out. We'll come back to this later. Halo 2 comes out, and why fuck it up? Make the metal bluer to contrast the orange box art. For the icon, put the 2 in the middle of the O. More complexity and details. Still looks badass on the box. And you'd sometimes find branding with just this stylized 2, because that's how recognizable Halo was. Simple, easy, nothing like the rest of making Halo 2. We get to Halo 3. Just sand down that metal a little bit, add some scratches, slap that 3 right where it belongs, not really reinventing a single thing. This logo appears slightly darker and grungy, fitting in with that late 2000s edge. That 3 is the first thing you see when booting up the game. But even with the material changes, that silhouette and typeface remained exactly the same. I always did think this coloring looked a little weaker on the boxes though. Then Halo 3 ODST just copy and pasted. And that's it, we've officially left the agreed upon golden age of Halo. Reach is looked back at as incredible now, and it is. But at the time, there were a lot of missteps and changes, especially in the art. And fuck, that's bad. They oversimplified their logo way before we knew we were supposed to hate that. So, 3 things. They changed the materials by removing them. They, for the first time, changed the actual typeface. This fucking O. So we've got a simple gray gradient as the material. That's not all bad. Sometimes the OG logos would show up mostly monochrome, but this typeface, they sanded down all the edges and ridges that used to catch your eye. On a case, it presents as not that much different from any other generic font. And this O, if we draw some lines here, it pops up higher than the type size, probably to counteract how thin it seems now due to the lack of material, but like it's unbalanced, it looks broken. Now, you can make an argument that it departs from the Forerunner tech aesthetic on purpose because the game takes place somewhere else entirely. And this monochrome look does look badass on posters. But I don't know, some of the soul was shaved away in favor of simpler, smoother, more modern word marks that always kind of allude to the fact that they're saying there's something wrong with what came before. Well, 343 comes in with their next installment, almost loved now, Halo 4, which gives us this main logo. And I don't hate it. The material is very shiny and sci-fi-esque, mimicking the Forerunner look in the game. We've got the 4 and the O right where it's supposed to be, but the typeface is kind of weak. It's not as simplified as Reach's, but it's still more modern looking, with all the rough edges removed, literally. But some of the tech lines and angles are retained in the material itself, evoking the complexity of the older logo while introducing a newer, cleaner silhouette, which I don't personally like, but it's a neat idea. Halo 4's isn't offensive, but it's not particularly memorable either. As a quick aside, the Master Chief Collection keeps the same new typeface, added this triangle texture, and represents the games as their stylized O's. Not much of a statement here, but I can kind of see why they wanted to keep it as generic as possible because it represents multiple games. I don't love it or hate it, I see why it is the way it is. Halo 5 Guardians, though, they added a shine. It's the same Halo-esque typeface as Halo 4, but they removed all the tech lines from the material and added this gloss shine that says absolutely nothing except looking like an old iOS app. Like the rest of this game, who looked at that and thought it was better? Another aside real quick, Halo 1 came out in 2001. And Reach, the first game to majorly overhaul the logo, dropped in 2010. So that's about 9 years between major redesigns. Now the next game after Halo 5 was Halo Infinite in 2021. Now about 9 years after the Halo 4 style was introduced. So we'd be about due for something new. Nope. Halo Infinite's logo is an absolute smallest step possible in the right direction. It keeps the same uninspired typeface from 9 years earlier, returns the tech lines that Halo 5 removed, and then dials them up. It looks fine. All stacked side by side, that's been about a decade of the same slightly watered down version of the logo without anything interesting added. It's like they think people actively like this more, when most people share cool, older Halo stuff or use the Halo font in their tutorials for some reason. It's always the slightly wonky but badass original typeface. But given that it's about to be 2026, that will be 13 years this new style has been the face of the franchise. As opposed to the original's 9, it is more identifiable with the franchise. But recently, we've had the soulless corpse of Halo 1 being remade for Unreal, and fuck! They put the new logo, that's way overdue for a redesign itself, as a replacement for the original, on a game that introduced the entire original style. This game is supposedly meant to introduce Halo to a brand new audience for the first time, which they should really stop trying to do, by the way, but making Halo's entire brand for them this watered down, corporate-friendly, uninspired version of the original logo. So instead of putting Halo's most iconic elements on full display for these new players, 3/4 Halo Studios is missing the point of the things that make the franchise cool. The same thing they've been doing for over a decade, manifesting in so many different ways we've seen. And I just wanted to point out that even down to the fucking typeface, their misunderstanding of their own game is on full display. Sorry, I mentioned the diagram, right? At least Halo Reach's misfire of a logo was bold and memorable for the risks and unique choices. This has mostly been the same copy and paste job of a design that was made with an era style that ended 8 years ago. And given the rumor that they're making 3 of these remakes, and are unlikely to change the whole branding in the middle of a trilogy, this aging, meek logo is here to stay, slowly rotting with the rest of the franchise, until something properly confident comes along. And I'm sure that's probably gonna happen at some point, but not with Halo Studios. So thanks for watching and listening to my crash out. Hope to see you in the next one.